Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of LavaCraft. As you can see, we changed up our skin a little bit. This is actually a custom design from one of my friends. Pretty cool. But yeah, anyways, at the end of last episode, we talked about fixing our nether portal problem. I've done a lot of testing. I've tried putting the nether portal in all sorts of different spots around the base. I've tried breaking the nether portals. But we cannot find a solution um, to actually fixing the problem. So today we're going to be patching the problem. We're going to put a band-aid on it and hopefully it should work. It's not going to be instant travel inside of our base, but it is going to be pretty fast, and I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that. So our nether portal is actually located right here in our base, about 220 blocks up, so pretty high up. We're going to make it look cool, hopefully, so it's not just a floating platform. But basically, the idea is today we're going to put a nice tower here. We might not finish all the decorations because that's a massive project, but um, we're going to actually be working in the base to make this nether portal over here make a little bit more sense. So when we exit the nether portal, we're actually going to just fly right over here. As you can see, I've changed up part of the roof, and this is going to be kind of our landing area, so it's kind of like a fly-in base. However, this is several floors up in our castle from our storage or our workshops or any of the things we actually use or any of the useful things in this base. And we want to be able to get to them quickly, obviously. That's kind of the idea behind linking nether portals and things like that. Actually, it ran out of end rods, but um, need to replace those. Yeah, so what we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to be going all the way down and destroying all of the floors in the space right here in the center. I know, we're finally tearing it down. Before we do that, before we get rid of all of our staircases, not all of them, we're going to leave a few up. Um, but before we get all of our staircases out of our build, we're going to take one last lap down them from bottom to top and just appreciate the good times we've had together. But yeah, that should be fun. We're actually going to build a bubble column elevator system right over here. However, we do have to leave this spot with sky access because that you can't see it right now, but our beacon beam runs right through the middle of our base, so that has to have sky access to work. So yeah, I guess we'll take a tour over the staircases, and then we will get started on this project. So hopefully enjoyed that little homage to the staircases that are no longer going to be in our base. Several of the bigger ones are still going to stay here, but I'm glad we did that anyway because we're never going to use them again. And we've used them a lot, so I think they deserve that. So now we just kind of have to work out where this elevator is going to go. Several of the main structures are also going to have to come down in the base, at least the central ones, and hopefully we can find a good spot and measure this whole thing out. So I'm going to dig through the center of my base all the way down to level 12, and um, I'll see you after. And we are back. coming into our new fly landing. Oh, yeah, we're gonna need to make this a little bigger, I think. Alright, well, we finished up carving out every layer down to the bottom, and this is our new ladder to get up and down from different parts of the base. No, I'm just kidding. But this area is currently under construction. We're going to be adding an elevator today, and I'm actually going to show you guys the two different ideas I had, and hopefully we can implement one of them. So we're going to hop over into our creative test world and show those off and try and get some ideas. So we are in our creative test world, and this was our first idea for our bubble column elevator. But it's a little too bulky and ugly, and I don't want to take up this much room in my base. The idea behind it was these would take you to different floors, but one would have to go up, one would have to go down, so it didn't really work. So we wanted to kind of compact this a little bit more, and this is what I came up with. So this right here takes up a lot less space than this beast over here. But it can be a little tricky trying to go up and down. So yeah, you can see. Oh, yeah. So it's definitely a lot more compact. Um, so I think this will fit a lot better in our base, and we just got to make it look a little bit better. So right behind me, you'll kind of see the finished product over here. So this would be our bubble column elevator instead of the iron bars. We're using black stained glass, a few end rods, so we're going to have to go back to the end to collect those. Um, but I'm pretty happy with the way this design turned out. Looks pretty cool. I don't mind having this in my base, especially since it's kind of the centerpiece, or is going to be at least. Now let me show you how you can get in and out of these. So you just kind of walk up, and then if you want to go, oh, see? So if we want to go up one floor, what we would do is we would go up to the second floor and just kind of, boop, just like that. Now, we tried to make it so that you would go up to this level right here, but you just don't have time to kind of pop out. So I think it makes a little bit more sense. So once you're up to this level here, you're going to fall right onto this hidden slime block. Ooh. And it should prevent you from taking any damage, because you don't want to get damage every single time you want to use your elevator. Oh, that would have hurt. We don't need them on these sides because they're actually the down elevators. So the magma blocks create the bubble column that pulls you down, and the soul sand creates the bubble columns that push you up, and that's how it's going to work. Hopefully. We'll see. We don't have quite this much space in between every single floor. Some of them are actually, I think, quite a bit bigger, so we're going to have to be a little creative with the placement of the slime blocks. But I'm excited to finally put our slime farm to use, because so far we haven't used any slime. But yeah, let's hop back into the Lovecraft world and try and make this thing happen. Alright, so welcome to the Nether. Before we get started, we're going to actually have to go to the end and collect some end rods, because we are pretty much completely out, and we're going to need quite a few for this elevator. Ooh, every time. Uh, so before we can get started, I want to make sure we don't run out of resources when we get going. So we're going to head over to our end portal and do some end raiding. Now, we're pretty much just going for the end rods, but if we see shulkers, we are gonna collect their skulls. So, or their shells, rather. Um, and if we want to use quartz in the design, we might actually have to do a little bit of mining in the Nether to find some quartz. Not super excited about that, but we don't really have any of that either. So we're going to have to go out pretty far in the Nether if we decide to do that, just to find quartz deposits. Luckily, I think we shouldn't have to go too far in the end to get our end rods, but we're going to see in just a minute, and I'll show you guys how I collect my end rods. So we're here at the end portal, and the thing we always forget to do is actually pull out some ender pearls, just because we're going to need them in just a moment, and we don't want to have to kill any endermen. We might end up having to anyway if we accidentally look them in the eye, because there's a lot in the end. I wish my nether portal was that quick, but yep, that's pretty much the whole reason for today's video, actually. Yeah, so we're gonna head right over here and throw an ender pearl into this end city crystal, and hopefully be able to find some end cities pretty quickly. So I've found several huge end cities here, so we haven't done a ton of exploring. I think I just looked at a guy. Wow, really loud. We might have to remember that we looked at a guy, because I think he'll still um, be mad at us when we come back. So yeah, as you can see, this one's pretty dim. I think I got all of the rods out of this one. You can tell which ones I've been to because they have giant pillars, and there's there's no end rods, so there might be a couple in here. Oh yeah, we got 3. So this is also a good reason to bring some scaffolding, especially when there's tons of shulkers. You can kind of go up and down a little bit easier, just to get those end rods. So I like to bring those and an axe. I know that you can just start from break the bottom one and they all fall down, but I usually use an axe with like a high efficiency because it's pretty much instant anyway, and I don't want to lose any scaffolding if I can avoid it. I hear a shulker nearby somewhere, so we're gonna go up here and see if we can find them. So we couldn't find the shulker, but I'm sure we'll find a couple today. Over here, it looks like we've been there. I'm sure we've been to all of these closest ones. I think we normally go in that direction. So today we're gonna go this way, I think. See if we can find some end cities that way. I actually brought a bunch of yellow wool and torches. The way that I keep myself from getting lost in the end is by pillaring up a giant tower and putting a torch in the direction of how I got here so that I never get lost. That one looks like an unexplored end city. Looks like we have a little one and a big one. So we're going to stop by the small one first, grab all of the end rods, and be on our way. We might not have explored any of these. Sweet. So we are headed this way, and we came from that way, so we're just gonna... Oh, that is not wool. That's a shulker box. We're gonna pillar up this way, and just put some torches, because it should be the only thing that's lit up, and we're gonna put one here so that we know if we fly past it, we're going this way to get home. So we're headed over to this end city over here. It looks like there's going to be a lot of end rods. We just finished up raiding this small one right here, and we got 28 end rods and 7 shulker shells, so that was definitely a successful um, little hunt there, and we might even be able to get one more. Alright, no shulker shell, but we do have this big end city to explore. So we're going to check that out right now and see how much loot we can get from this one. And if we don't have enough, there's even one smaller one right behind it. So we just finished up raiding this pretty decent sized end city, and we got well, we had 7, so we have 27 shulker shells from that little raid. We also got a perfect pair of diamond leggings. I think this is one of the best pieces of armor I've ever found in an end city. We also got a diamond shovel, a really good diamond shovel, and a diamond sword, and we're almost up to 2 stacks of end rods. We've also found 27 iron ingots, and you know we can always use more of those. But I don't think this is going to be quite enough end rods, so I'm going to keep going, and we'll regroup back at the base. So we're back in the base now, and we're going to check out all the loot we got. It's pretty solid haul for our little end raid right there. I think this should be enough end rods. If not, we'll just have to go back. I mean, I do have a really fun time raiding the end, so it wouldn't be such a bad thing. It's always fun to get some really awesome loot. As you can see, we got another really good shovel, a bunch more shulker shells. We got those leggings, and then 2 pretty solid chest plates. I don't really like thorns to be on my armor, but they both have protection 4, so pretty cool. Some diamonds and a bunch of iron ingots. Pretty happy with this haul. I think that should be plenty end rods, so uh, I can't really put it off any longer, so we're gonna have to start this elevator because we won't be able to get to our other floors very efficiently if we don't get this done pretty quick. And scaffolding is annoying sometimes, so yep. All right, let's get started. So we are here at level 220, right next to our hopefully working entrance to our Nether hub. Um, And phase 1 is complete, so let's go check it out. So, as you know, phase 1 was the bubble column elevator that's going up through our entire castle that we can kind of just fly into, and that didn't work out very well. We're definitely going to have to put something on these corners here, I guess, because we don't have this huge landing strip anymore. But as you can see, our bubble column elevator is up and running. So we're going to take a trip all the way down to the bottom and then back up again, just to make sure it works. The only thing I think I'm going to change about this design is the flooring around it. I think we are going to go with quartz, but we just don't have enough right now. So we'll have to finish this up probably off camera, just to go collect some nether quartz. It's not that interesting. Also, when I thought I had enough end rods, I was very wrong. We do not. As you can see, we ended up getting them, but we had to do quite a bit more end raiding, about 3 times as much as I thought we would have to, so that's fun. But like I said, I like end raiding. We got a lot of really good loot, though. We're actually going to check that out right now. Let's see. Yeah, so we got 6 elytras, like over 2 stacks of shulker boxes when they're all crafted up. A couple dragon heads, some ender chests, a bunch of diamonds, some iron, some gold, and check this out. We got an entire shulker box full of diamond gear, and some of this stuff is insanely good. I mean, look at that. Mending, Unbreaking 3, Blast Protection. That's perfect for what we use. Uh, I mean, none of them are bad. Yeah, some really solid, like just mending, really good. I mean, we still got those crazy good leggings. And we still got a few more items over here, so pretty good haul. Tons and tons of really, really good and enchanted iron, but we won't be using that. And obviously a bunch of potions of healing. So pretty good haul. And obviously we got a ton of end rods from it as well. We used quite a bit of them. There's still some more down in the bulk storage, but we got a lot. We got a lot. Hopefully, for the next project we use them for, we won't have to go back to the end. Yeah. So, like I said, we're gonna go back down to the bottom. So yeah, if you stand here, you can kind of see the different levels. Here, and there we go. So, down here, what I wanted to show you was, from our creative world, we've added one more thing. Um, we're gonna do 5 beacons that go through the base instead of just one. Um, and since they're spread out a little bit, it did cost us a lot of gold, but gold is cheap now, so that gold farm has really been helpful. But we have to get one more beacon, so I think maybe that's what we'll do in the next episode. Or at least start off by gathering the supplies, killing the wither, and crafting us up our final beacon. Just because I'd really like to get it in there. Do we need it? No. Do we want it? Absolutely. So, we're gonna go back up to the top here and start talking about how we're gonna finish this project. I don't know that we're gonna get the entire 220 tall tower built today, but we're gonna get an outline for it. So yeah, see you at the top. Okay, so here we are back at our main project. This is going to be phase 2 of fixing our nether portal, hopefully. And this is our location for our nether portal tower that we are going to use to be able to fly anywhere we need to go in our entire base area. The whole reason we built the bubble column in the center of the castle is just to kind of speed that process up, since we don't have a nether portal that can directly link us into our base. Now, there's a few problems with this method. It's still pretty fast. It's not quite as fast as instant nether portal travel, but flying's pretty fast. But the problem here is, uh, if we're not careful, this could turn out very ugly. Now, if you see the tower's location from, say, like over here, it's going to obstruct quite a bit of our build. So we want it to look super cool and kind of make it look like it fits in. Um, we've had issues in the past with building giant, tall, skinny towers and them just kind of destroying the image of what we're trying to create with our base. So what we're going to do to kind of combat that is use a circular shape like we did here in the top floors of the tower, and hopefully it will turn out okay. So, well, I guess let's get into our creative world and just test out a couple spherical patterns and things like that. So hopefully, hopefully it will turn out okay. Alright, so welcome back to our creative test world, where we're going to be testing out some spheres and some circles today. Um, First thing that you want to know about spheres and circles in Minecraft is they can be a little tricky. So I definitely suggest pulling up a circle generator on the internet. There's tons of them. You can look them up and use one of those to map it out. So I'm not going to be doing a block by block tutorial on how to do a 60 block in radius circle, because that would be not super exciting. But if you were wondering, yep, you can make circles and spheres inside of Minecraft. But if you are doing it for the very first time in your world, definitely try and make it in creative first just to test it out. Do a couple small ones before you go ahead and throw them in your builds, because they can be very tricky and you don't want to have to break it all back down just because it's one block off and it turned into an oval or something else. So just give it a try a couple times in creative. That's what I would suggest. So we're actually going to do that right now, and hopefully it turns out okay. And we're back with a fairly rounded circle. Looks pretty good to me. Um, Corners look a little boxy. I think that's kind of unavoidable because this is definitely the size of the circle we want to go for in our build. Um, just because of the scale of it and how tall it is, I don't want it to look weird with super small circles. So I think this is what we're going to go with. Now, the next part I'll kind of go over. So if you're making a sphere, and we're not going to create a whole sphere in here because I already know how to do it, but you basically want to do this exact same number pattern here, but you want to do it this way. So right there, and then you're going to do another one there. So basically what it is it's three circles connected, um, and then you just fill them in. So let's see if we can do that real quick. One, two, three, and we're done. So it was actually right. Another kind of trick when building spheres and circles is just finish it real quick because it doesn't always look right while you're doing it, and at certain angles like this one right here, it doesn't look like a sphere at all. It looks very strange, but then at other angles like this, it doesn't look so bad. It looks more normal, and if you kind of look at this arch right here, that's very circular. And if you look at this arch right here, that's very circular. So when we start to fill all of these in, it should definitely look quite a bit better. And I think it's going to turn out really well. Um, Part of the reason why we even tested this out, since I already know how to make spheres, is sometimes if you're going for a very specific dimension, um, you want to test it out just because it it could look super weird, or it might be very ovally, because not every dimensions look perfect when you throw them into a circle generator, which I have learned the hard way. So definitely use a circle generator. Uh, Definitely just try it a couple times in creative before you execute a massive build like I'm about to, and hopefully you can transfer that over into your worlds and make some pretty cool stuff. So that's what we're about to do, hopefully. I'm not super sure that my idea is going to work out, but I think if we just start with some circles and a sphere, we'll definitely have something cool eventually. See if it looks better without that. I think so. Looks a lot better without that. Cool. Actually, before we go into that build, we're going to have a quick little conversation. So, if you see my hotbar down here, I got some pretty generic blocks, and it turns out that most of my builds are actually made out of these blocks right here. And you know what? They're not very exciting. We do use variants of these blocks, like stairs and walls and things like that, but um, honestly, they're not super cool. So I've been thinking about it a lot and changing up the build style because gotten a lot better at building over the last 1,000+ hours. And when I did my world walkthrough for my first video, I actually kind of made the decision that we're going to be switching up some of the block palettes around our base and surrounding area. Um, and they actually just announced in one of the latest snapshots that they're going to be adding a new block to the game, and that's going to be called Blackrock. And we're going to have a bunch of different variants, over 20 different kinds of block types, and I'm really, really excited about those and some of the other additions that are coming out in the Nether update. So I think as soon as that happens, we're going to change up our build style quite a bit, and we're going to spend a lot of time in the Nether collecting those ingredients because they're super, super cool, and I'm super excited for them. So, if you're wondering why we're always sticking with the same block palettes, I'm wondering the same thing. So we're going to be switching it up soon. So, just a little FYI. Thanks. All right, and we're back in the realms of the lava craft, and This is a pretty tall order of a project, and honestly, that bubble column elevator took me a lot longer than I'm willing to admit. So, it's time to start another very tedious project, and I just realized how long this video is actually going to be. So I do apologize for that, and thanks for hanging in there if you are still watching. Um, we're going to go ahead and put some of the groundwork down and get these circles built. I think we're going to go circle here, sphere in the middle, and circle up top and start from there. And that's probably all we're going to do for this episode. So let's get to it. 1, 2, 3. And we have now completed the outline of our new building. So pretty exciting stuff. But it looks a little weird from this angle. Let's just kind of fly around it just a bit and check it out. Yep, so it's definitely circular. It's going to look a lot better when we fill all of this in. I think we're going to use glass and do a pretty cool design, but I think that this has actually been enough for this video. I'm sure it's going to be a long one, but I think we got everything we wanted to accomplish. The only other thing is I'm going to install a second bubble column elevator right here in the middle of this tower. And the reason I'm going to do that is just to kind of speed things up while we're going up and down and building, and just in case I don't have some wings on me, I can use it to get to my base, because we'll kind of be stranded at the top if we don't do that and we don't have wings. So yeah, I guess I gotta build another one. Alright, well, thanks for watching this episode, and I hope you really enjoyed it. If so, leave a like, and feel free to subscribe if you really, really liked it. So, you'll be seeing me soon. Thanks. Bye. And by the way, we added these floors in so that we don't fall every single time we come into our launch pad, because that would be a pretty bad launch pad if you always fell off of it. Although I guess you kind of always fall off the launch pad, but it's usually a little bit more utilitarian. Alright, bye.